Hello and welcome to today's NinjaTrader Ecosystem webinar event with John Santos of Zoom and Profit Algo System. My name is Thomas and I'm a platform representative here at NinjaTrader. I would like to mention that it is important to understand that there's substantial risk in trading commodity futures contracts and Forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you, and it will depend on your specific circumstances and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and could even occur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the link provided for more information or for a copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not solicitation or recommendation, but simply educational in nature. Now, this webinar is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to NinjaTrader Brokerage directly by emailing brokeragesupport@ninjatrader.com. Now, the NinjaTrader ecosystem website is home to hundreds of third-party apps and services, all centered around the NinjaTrader platform, with new tools added nearly every day. NinjaTrader ecosystem is home to hundreds of apps and services. You can quickly and easily find the tools or services you're looking for with a simple keyword search. You can also find information about upcoming webinars and an on-demand video archive to view event recordings. Now, for up-to-date information, be sure to like or follow NinjaTrader ecosystem on social media. And NinjaTrader is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. And if you are just getting started with NinjaTrader, we offer free live trading webinars on a daily basis. Now, we are very excited for this unique event in which John will discuss identifying the key components necessary to effectively trade hedge strategies. Thank you for your attendance today, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, John. Please take it away, John.
Good afternoon, or good evening, good morning, depending where in the globe you are. Welcome to the Zoom In Profit, sponsored by NinjaTrader. It's a great privilege because I have myself watched many of these webinars over the years, and now it's my chance and opportunity to share with you on how to trade hedged strategies on the NinjaTrader platform. I know the expectation that you have when you come to a webinar like this, because you want to walk away with something that you can implement in your trading right away. And so I hope to be able to share knowledge and experience that you can implement in your trading. First of all, this is not a recommendation of how you should trade hedged strategies, but it's an educational view on what's possible to implement on the NinjaTrader platform. And we'll be covering the why and the ins and outs of implementing hedged strategies. First, why? Well, traders may wish to trade both sides of the market by going long and short, depending on time frames that you use. But it's generally you find a challenge because of the FIFO rule, which prevents trades from being open simultaneously long and short. Actually, you can open the trades, but the broker system will offset the positions on that are both long and short. So essentially, your account will be flat for those trades, and we'll see how we work around those things. So in today's webinars, it is possible to simultaneously trade, but it requires a comprehensive understanding of how to run those hedged strategies in compliance with the FIFO rule. First of all, there is convenience when you can run multiple strategies. If you have multiple strategies with positive profit expectations, the good news is you don't have to open separate account for each of your strategies, because opening separate accounts would require additional resources such as server allocation, multiple logins, supervision of multiple platforms, and funding for multiple accounts. And another reason you may want to trade multiple strategies is you want to spread out the allocation of trade size on various charts. And so even if trading just a single strategy, in order to deploy different types of charts and time frames, when you are running several charts, inevitably you will lead to open trades on both sides of the market. That is long and short. And so the question is how to implement such dynamics in a single account and still be compliant with the FIFO rule. So what is the FIFO rule? It is the requirement that a trade that came in first be closed first when there is an offset position. So that's exactly what it says. First in, first out. So one frequent question that I get is on trading hedged strategies, because hedging is not allowed. That is the concept, that hedging is not allowed. Well, technically, the account itself is not hedged in terms of open positions. The account will indeed be flat. And so the million-dollar question is, how can you profit from an account whose position is often flat? And the answer is that the strategies per se are not affected. And that's the beauty of the NinjaTrader 8 platform dashboard that we'll walk through step by step for you to see how positions on the strategies are not affected, as far as the results are not affected by the FIFO rule. So when you open up the NinjaTrader platform and you bring up the strategies tab, here's an example with 3 strategies running. And when they are active, each one will keep its own results separately from the other. And the positions show the net position of all the strategies. So in this particular snapshot, I had only one position, but there could be more positions, and then the net sum of all trades will show up on the positions as the net sum. And the account value, the accounts tab will show the value of the realized and unrealized of all positions. In other words, the account value equals the sum of all strategies' performance. And each strategy performance, again, is not affected by the FIFO rule. And here's an example with 4 strategies running with trades going both short and long simultaneously. And there was no conflict at all. The orders and execution tabs keep track of orders to apply the FIFO rule. So the orders will keep the pending orders for limit orders or stop. And this is where the brokers will control the in and out of the strategies. So on March 4th was a very active trading day, and the NinjaTrader platform ran smoothly on 29 trades that I counted on 4 charts, as we'll see next. So all these trades happened with sometimes simultaneously running long and short. And so the position showed flat if there was 1 long and 1 short, or 2 long and 2 short. Yet the strategies per se gave the result exactly as the charts indicated. And it's very impressive to see all these entries and exits summarized on the chart. So here's 1 week of trading on a 30-minute chart that I brought up just to see the arrows that you see on the chart showing the entry and exit of each trade. And this was based on running 4 charts, 2 trend and 2 counter-trend charts. So absolutely a perfect synchrony of entry and exits of trades in compliance with the FIFO rule. Now, the do's and don'ts of a multi-strategy system, and this is where system developers and users need to learn a couple things necessary for the orders not to conflict when they are both long and short on the strategies. First, we'll see the don'ts. No manual trading on the same instrument. Why is that? When you have the strategies running automatically, if you trade manually, one time I did so, it was okay, but the second time it caused a glitch on the order system. So no trading manually on the same instrument. And so when things go wrong, if you trade manually and the order system locks up, you're going to see on the log of the dashboard of the platform, showing things that are wrong on the platform. So on the don'ts, orders that are not immediately executable, such as limit entry that is too close to the price, stop entry order. Trailing stop is the worst, because if price jumps the trailing stop, the strategy may be disabled, and that causes error on the dashboard of the system running the strategy. So OCO entry, that is order cancel orders. So all those more complex orders are not recommended when running multiple strategies that are hedged. So it may work or may not work properly. You have to try on sim account to see whether your strategies are conflicting. So I cannot speak for all the vendors out there with probably 1,000 different strategies that are available to you. But this is a heads up. There is no definitive article or manual on what is executable or not. As far as the list that I made here is based on empirical observation that these are more challenging. And soon, of course, we'll see what we can do to work around these. And here's an example of conflict of two orders where the FIFO rule had a conflict in which order should be closed first, because both had the same stop price, yes, at 38.94.25, and at the same time. So since the system does not know which order to close first, it disabled the strategy and left the trades open. So this is basically, if you have a problem, the system will let you untangle or solve the problem yourself. I had this personal experience where two orders, the system could not determine which one should be closed first. So the FIFO rule couldn't be applied, and it left the order opens for me to decide. And I had to flat that out manually and then restart the strategy, which had been disabled by the system. Now the do's. Market order entry is the preferred way for multiple strategies running simultaneously. And thus the Zoom in Profit Algo System strategies are programmed to open new positions only on market orders. So if you have systems that open orders differently, you have to try probably for a week to see how that works out for you. But I definitely found that the market order entry caused the least possibilities of error when running multiple strategies. And the second thing with the do's is you can have the target profit and stop loss for each order, no problem there. Regarding a workaround on trailing stops that I mentioned previously not being recommended, what can you do? Well, take a close look on my screen and you see that the move to break even and additional break even points as the stock moves in profit. So you can work with multiple levels of break even, plus and minus, until you reach your final target profit. And this does not cause errors at all, whereas this trailing stop may cause errors. And again, as I said, there is no definitive rule about what causes error, but it is an empirical observation that trailing stops may cause error. And what I have created here is similar to an ATM feature of the NinjaTrader platform, where I move in steps at each additional level of profit. And of course, you can trade manually on any other instrument. So if your automated strategy is on the ES, you can trade manually on the YM or NQ. So in this experience here, I have manual trading going on the YM. Instead of hedging the strategies on the same instrument, you can alternatively seek comparable charts of ES, such as YM, and trade each market on these two instruments However, trading separate markets will require more work dialing in on each instrument to find comparable charts. I prefer to trade only one instrument on the same market with multiple strategies to benefit from the hedging benefit instead of looking for alternative market. But that's up to your choice. And what if there is a system disconnect? So that happens like any other situation running NinjaTrader strategy where you have to sometimes flatten everything to get back on track and sometimes even log off. So a system disconnect often connects itself again by itself, but you may have to restart the strategies. Now, an important thing about running multiple strategies with the objective of hedged strategies is to implement countertrend. And so we'll discuss the possibility of a multi-strategy approach using hedged strategies. However, keep in mind that countertrend trading can lead to heavy losses during strong trend. And let me share with you the rationale behind the Zoom-in Profit Algo System for implementing a countertrend approach to help manage risk. Let's take a look at a disastrous way of being contrarian. Many typical countertrend strategies fight the trend, hoping for a price reversal, as we see on this chart. And to me, this is a disastrous way of being contrarian, because in a strong trend, that could be multiple losses while hoping for a turnaround in price. And let's see the alternative to this. So instead, the countertrend trading proposed by the Zoom-in Profit Algo System enters only once at the onset of a strong trend. The same chart we saw previously. Now we can see on the left side that the countertrend trade of the Zoom-in Profit opened only one trade at the beginning of the trend. And then it traded again only when there was a change in the trend at the very top on the right side of the chart. So the first one was a loss, and the second one was a profit. And nothing as far as counter trend traded in between. Now let's look at 3 ways in which lagging trend indicator signals may provide profit opportunities in counter trend mode. So the same chart we saw previously, here there is a retracement in the chart that allowed for a target profit exit before price resumed the direction of the current signal. And the second possibility for profit during a trend on a counter trend system is that the indicator's trend comes in too late and there is no follow through in price for the late signal. And that's an opportunity of profit for the counter trend. So last October, this is a screenshot from October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. There were 8 positive trades in counter trend during a choppy market. And they all exited in profit. And that's based on the examples that I showed on the previous screen. So now if you have final questions that you can ask, and I will answer you according to your questions. Yes. Any questions? Information. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. I have a few questions that I will go one by one. Muted. Okay, first question, how to display a spread chart in an NT8? I do not know what that question refers to. And what's the purpose of multiple strategies? Too many trades? There is question about winning percentage. I will not be able to, in a short period of time, to discuss exactly the winning percentage of each chart. And you can send your questions specifically, if I'm not able to answer here, to info@zoominprofit.com. I'll put my email here. Okay. So one question says, the problem with two orders at the same price wouldn't, as in the example that I showed you, wouldn't it be solved if each one of them had a unique name, unique ID for each order? Yes, indeed. They do have a unique order, each ID, but still the system was not able to determine which one should be closed first, because it's not about the idea, but rather about which trade. So the trade per se could not be determined which one came in first, probably because of exactly the same time, minutes and seconds. Another question, whether this works best on a private server. So if you're referring to a VPS or a computer that runs 24/7, obviously that's how strategies should run if you have running 24/7. Now, if you run them only during the day, it's up to you regarding your internet connection. But 99.9% uptime is the best way to have your strategies running. Another question on why do you not have more current trades, or does this strategy only work on certain markets only? When I prepared this, I was trading only the ES. Now I have added the NQ, and you can see that on my website that the NQ is a new strategy that I launched last month, and I will be trading that with a service that offers auto execution. And regarding how much it is, the price of each strategy is $650. However, with buying all four strategies, you get a big discount. So that's $760 for all four strategies. And you can read the specifics of each strategy on the website. Well, another question here about the strategy that someone just bought but does not see on my example is the T-Step MA. Obviously, I did not make it a point to run every strategy on the NinjaTrader webinar, but rather a general example that it is possible to run as many strategies as you have on the platform. So my personal experience, I have run as many as 8 charts simultaneously, and that included the T-Stop MA. The Step MA, actually, someone who wrote T-Step, but I don't have such a strategy T-Step. It's Step MA, no T. I'm sorry about that. Step MA. And let's see if there are any other questions here that I can answer. Someone asked me, why do I use 24 range? So I found the 24 range as a good chart for the counter trend. And I obviously tried different charts, but the 24 range came out as optimal. And the question of how long I've been in business, my website started last December. And someone asked about strategy parameters to trade at Lilu. And Lilu combined, yes, you can trade those parameters on the Lilu account. Another question of how long I've been using the Ninja indicators. I've been a user of the Ninja.co indicators for a year. And I implement, actually more than a year, and I implemented that in my strategies starting last August. On data for historical results, yeah, you can get those from my website, or you can send email on the specific results for the strategy back tests. On question on optimizing the strategies do have a need for optimization. Those optimizations, I try to minimize them by going both long and short, so that the market sometimes is good on the trend, and sometimes is good on the counter trend, and so they make up for each other. And there is one question about me using the term hedging, when it sounds like whoever wrote this here, talking about balancing out winners and losers by diversification of trading strategies. Yes, the hedging component is the fact that you are able to trade long and short simultaneously. And so based on the definition of hedging is the ability to trade multiple ways. One of the definitions of hedging is the ability to trade multiple ways on the same instrument instead of looking for uncorrelated markets. The recording will be available for those who need the recording to review. And a question whether I have run the strategies from the control panel without the chart. No, the charts are not, the strategies do not run on the control panel alone. They need the chart. A question on intraday trading or swing trading only. You can do it both ways. So those options are on the strategy option to choose from the settings. And there's a question on showing the specific chart. So the time here does not allow for more specific showing of the charts, but you can send specific message of what the chart you want to see to my email. And regarding trading through big news, so I use charts that are fairly large so that they will not be impacted by big news. That is a 24 range or a Renko chart 16 and above will not be impacted by big news. Yes, this is automated and only for futures. Another question on whether there is risk of lost data with your trend and counter trend strategies blow out of account. Yes, on the market volatility that we had back in March last year, at the onset of the pandemic, the trend and counter trend trades that I have examples on my website would have had big losses. Whereas the NQ on a much larger time frame, 150 range 150, did extremely well. So you can see the examples of the NQ. In order to get past huge volatility in such a way that we had March last year, you'd have a very large chart. Range 24 is not enough. So 150 range on the NQ was perfect setting for very huge volatility. So I'm typing here the website. And when you click on the buy icon on my website, it will take you to the shopping cart where there is a special webinar discount on getting all 4 strategies. And you can read more on each strategy by clicking on different tabs of my website. Someone asked about the Uniranko and Heiken-Nash. I have not used Heiken-Nash, but you can certainly try that. On the Uniranko, yes, it's okay. Someone asked me about daily time frame analysis. I have not tested it on daily time frame. Sorry, I cannot speak about daily time frame. And someone asked me about further discount who already bought 2 days ago. Yes, I can send you a special link for extra discount to get all 4 strategies. Does the purchase include license for indicators? Yes. So the Ninja indicators are built in the strategies. You do not purchase additional license for the indicators. They are included. Oh, a question on how to detect entry for each case of the chart. You can see that in 2 ways. One, on the chart itself. So each chart running a strategy shows only the trades for that strategy on that specific chart. And on the strategies tab, each strategy shows the trade for that particular strategy. Only the total combination will show on the positions, which is the net. But on the tab strategies, you see each strategy working. A question on whether I do multi-frame analysis. No, I have not run any multi-frame analysis on my strategies. When I do multi-time frame, I actually do them individually and then pairing them up on a spreadsheet to see the multi-time frame analysis. But that is more manual work rather than automated. That is correct. I have tested the strategies on ES when I launched in late 2020, and last month started testing the NQ. I started testing the NQ because many people requested NQ. It has huge movements, and so I was very pleased that I was able to come up with a strategy for NQ, because for many years I always saw the NQ as untamed wild beast, extremely difficult to work with the NQ. I remember years ago when I placed a trade on NQ and my stop loss was hit before my finger moved from the mouse. So my experience with the NQ had been one that the stop loss goes very, very fast. And so in that case, I had to work with NQ going way large bars and large targets. And so I was able to get NQ with many points of targets and obviously a fairly large stop loss. However, with the target profit 3-4 times larger than the stop loss. And so I'm very pleased with what I'm looking forward to doing on the NQ. What I have now on the NQ is for the NASDAQ is the trend, and I'm working on a counter trend reversal for the NQ, which I believe is going to pair up very well. And that's probably coming at the end of this week. Yes, the NQ is included on the special of the 4 price. The NQ is not included in the, at the moment, is not included in the lease, because I'm planning to do another lease plan with automated execution by a private service. So definitely you get the NQ strategy when you pay the special price for all 4. Regarding the MES, micro, definitely you can trade the MES and you get very, very similar results. Sometimes one tick off. I have traded the MES, micro ES, side by side with the mini, and they do run very similar. So regarding the trading hours for the ES, I ran it 24/7. However, lately I'm looking at running only day hours and close before market, because most people prefer that way, not have to come up with a margin, uh, overnight margin. Regarding the, let's see if there is any new question here that I need to answer. Someone asked, the strategies work best on 24 range charts. The 24 range chart is only for the counter trend, the T-stop counter trend on the ES. The counter trend that I'm preparing for the NQ is 150, actually it will be 100 Ninja Renko. So for the NQ, counter trend will be 100 Renko. In other words, I don't want to run anything less than 100 range or Renko for the NQ. So the NQ is not something that can be done on automated strategies with a $200 of target or stop. The NQ will move $200 sometimes in seconds, whether positive or negative. And that's why I've made strategies for the NQ with much larger target and stop. So regarding additional computer licensing, there is an additional cost of $200 for a second computer. So you can get the second computer license for only $200. What time frame will work best for the MES during the day trading hours? For the day trading hours, if you want to do just the market hours, is 9:30 a.m. New York time. But I like to start strategies at 2 o'clock in the morning, personally. So that is my view on getting the early hours. So many questions rolled on the chat here. If I missed your question specifically, you please send me a message. And if there are no further questions, I will hand it over to Thomas. And thank you very much all for attending, and especially your questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much there, John. I would like to give a special thank you to John Santos of Zoom and Profit Algo System for a great presentation today. Now, Ninja Ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope you will attend them on a regular basis. We would like to remind you that the information provided today was that of Zoom and Profit Algo Systems and not of NinjaTrader. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spend with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you here in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us here at NinjaTrader Ecosystem.